Thought I was here, um, cleaning my transmission for my car. Thought I'd make a little live test video to see how it all works and stuff. Mostly because I've never really done it. But anyways, I was cleaning up the transmission. Okay, I was on I-70 the other day. Um, Headed to court. Um, and well, the uh, the clutch exploded. Um, so I was having a little trouble with the transmission, anyways. So I'm okay with having to change the clutch, I guess. But it was the clutch from Amazon. It was like $85 or something. Stage one clutch from Amazon. I don't know. It might have been causing the problems for quite a while. I don't think it was as heavy duty as what it actually said it was. Um, but it had really good grip and stuff. So, I mean, it was decent in that aspect, but the strength just wasn't there. So, I really, unless you just wanting a cheap uh, tra- uh, excuse me, you're just wanting a cheap replacement until you can get a better replacement clutch, then go ahead and get the Amazon clutch. But in all honesty, I really wouldn't bother. If you've got the money for a good one, I'd get a good one. But uh, anyways, this transmission is going to go in my car. If it's nearly as good as what the guy I got it from says it was, it's supposedly smooth and everything. So, and mine was a little crunchy in third, anyways. So I figure if this one's as good as he says it is, then I'll be putting that in my car. Now, as for my S10, there is an issue with my S10. Kind of had a similar problem with the S10, the clutch or something it gave out, and um, well, it got stuck in Henderson, Kentucky, and that happened the day I was going to get this transmission. So this transmission costed me $100 plus my truck because my truck ended up getting towed away. So, anyways, I don't know. I think I seen somebody saying something. What's up, Elisha? Fiberglass box, foam pieces. Okay, hold on. My foam piece in my convertible keeps cracking around the sides. Okay, it's foam. It's it's cheap. I hate to say that, but it's foam and it's cheap. Something about the fiberglass box. Um, Fiberglass shouldn't really be cracking unless it's like really old because there's 50s and 60s cars that were made out of fiberglass that are still going today, but it's because they had actually re-resined the entire thing. So unless it's really dried out over like a 20-year span, there's no reason it should have actually cracked or split unless it wasn't done right in the first place. So I don't know exactly why it would be cracking. And you said foam piece, so like I say, it's foam. You get a few years on foam, and it's going to crack anyways because it's foam. So, um, anyways, back uh, to the truck. I've lost it. Somebody ended up um, calling it in and having it towed off, I guess, because it was on private property. It was on a parking lot. So, but that's fine. I understand. You don't want somebody's junk truck sitting in your parking lot for too long, and it was there for probably 3 or 4 weeks, so that was probably too long. So anyways, now since my car took a crap on me and I've lost my job and everything else, now I'm here cleaning up his transmission. I think he used it for dirt track because that's what I'm doing. I'm knocking off clay is what it is. It's Kentucky clay. I'd say that's what it is because I got the transmission in Kentucky. But anyways, I don't know exactly how I'm going to get, I need to get my car here into the garage. And get working on it. And as soon as I do, I'll have videos of that too. I might do some more live feeds with doing that because that might be interesting to kind of let everybody see what's going on with that. No, Jesse. Unfortunately, I don't have the S10 anymore. It got hauled away down in Kentucky. The clutch had messed up, and I was leaving it there until I could afford to go get it because I didn't really have the money to bring it back. So I had to call a friend and have him come and get me. And then whenever I finally got the time and the chance, I called up the shopping center place and I asked them if it was still sitting there, and they said no. So I'm apparently guessing that it actually got hauled off probably a couple of weeks ago, I'm guessing, because usually a lot of people don't want stuff sitting around in their parking lots. But when I get back working and stuff again, I'm going to try to get another S10 and start another S10 project. Hopefully. Which the worst part about losing my S10 was the fact that I just put on new gaskets on the upper end and got it running real nice and smooth. You know, replaced the fender. I replaced a lot of the engine parts. I know. I loved my S10, dude. I loved it. You have no idea. I was working on that thing, and I had that thing for 10 years. And I want to tell you a little story about the S10. The S10, I ended up getting stuck with by my ex-wife. I told her not to put it in my name because originally I had bought it so I could fix it up a little bit and resell it because I could have made a little bit of money off of it. I paid $250 for it. All I needed to do was give it a little tune up and clean it up some, and I could have sold it for like $600 and made money instantly. But I told her not to put it in my name. She had went, because I was busy that day, and she had went and took the titles to the vehicles, and she had them put in my name. What are you doing? I owe back child support. Don't put the titles in my name, because the state will take them. Put them in your name, and then we can make a little money off of the S10 because we're having a little bit of a crunch. And so she didn't listen. And anyways, I ended up getting stuck with the S10, and I fell in love with my S10. I loved that truck, and lots of wrench time and lots of working on that truck over the past 10 years. And just so I can lose it in Henderson, Kentucky, that really sucks the most. So I don't know how to find it. I don't know who I'm supposed to call in order to find it, but I may hunt it down, or I may just get a whole nother project altogether. One that's in a little better shape than that one was, because I was starting to think that I was going to have to pull the bed off and just put a flat bed on it, or hopefully find a better bed for it. But anyways, I really loved that truck. Man, did I love that truck. Blood, sweat, and just blood and more blood, because I busted my knuckles several times on that poor car, and I cut myself working on it. But anyways, as far as the Escort goes, I will still have to work on the Escort anyways, because I need to get it in here and I need to get this transmission in it and I need to get another clutch. Hopefully I didn't destroy the flywheel. If I destroyed the flywheel, then I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Maybe getting it resurfaced might not be a bad idea, but I haven't had it open, so I don't really know what I'm going to be looking at whenever I open it up. And that's another reason I might do a live feed, so I can show you guys what in all kind of a disaster that clutch has become, because I had ran it to get a little bit of juice to the battery and it was down inside there, and then it got quiet. So it had to have destroyed it completely, I'm guessing. So I kind of hope that it's not too bad. I can just get the transmission put in and get the new clutch put in, and it'll be just fine. I don't think I did any damage to the CV shafts or drive shafts, as some people call, but they're constant velocity shafts. So anyways, you know, my little test here is about done. I've kind of discussed about all that I need to, unless any questions for me or something. Like there was a couple of questions that popped up, so and I got those answered. I really hated to tell Jesse that I didn't have my S10 anymore. That really sucks. I just really want my S10 back, or I want another S10. And hopefully I find one with a 2.5, because that little Iron Duke, I didn't even have to resurface the head or nothing, because usually the iron heads don't really warp. And I know I drove that thing hot several times, and I checked it warped. I mean, it probably would have had to have been 5,000 degrees for the iron head to warp, but I don't know for a fact. But anyway, like I say, this is just a little live feed test, and I see there's one person watching. I don't know who you are, but thanks for watching. If I wanted any of them, I'd want the 88, because mine was an 88. I would definitely want the 88 again, and hopefully it would have the 2.5 in it, because them little Iron Duke engines are just, they're little beasts. They don't have a lot of horsepower or torque or nothing, but that truck would do anything and everything that I told it to do. I put my foot on the gas and it would go, even with a bad head gasket. And I don't know how long it was rolling on a bad head gasket before I actually changed it. But I had noticed that the water was going up and down and up and down, and I would have to fill it back up every so often. So it wasn't a huge leak in the head gasket, but when it finally went, you could kind of really tell when it actually finally went, because it was really poofing white smoke pretty bad. And whenever it finally did go, but I don't know. As far as everything else goes, I do have this other a 4.3 4x4 regular cab. You know, I haven't seen very many of those around where I'm at, and if I do see them, they're not even worth having. They're pretty beat to crap, and half the time the drive line has been destroyed by whoever it is that took it out to whatever place. We got a place called Redbird around here, and they like to go tear up their vehicles out there. But yeah, that would be a nice one. Or maybe the Baja edition would be a pretty nice one to have, because they did a really good job with the Baja edition. I can't remember, but I know they was pretty quick, and they was all-wheel drive. I know that four-wheel drive, I know that much. They was, I've only seen a few of those though too. They had the roll bar and everything already on them from the factory and stuff. It's kind of like one of those unicorn type things, like at the scrapyard where I used to go to a lot. They actually had a dually S10. Okay, I don't think they came from the factory that way. I think there was a kit that you could buy and turn your long bed into a dually, but I had only seen one other my whole life up to that point, and this was like a few years ago. And I was in the scrapyard, and I was like, "Oh my word, that's a Dually S10. I've only seen one of those, and it was at a car show whenever I was a teenager." So it's been a while since I had actually even seen one, and I thought, man, I'd like to have that one. And then I got to thinking, hey, I would like to have parts off of that one because it actually looked pretty decent. The doors were even electric windows and all that stuff. And I was going to snatch the doors and stuff off of it, but somebody ended up coming and taking and hauling it off, I believe. Yeah, that is crazy. I like I said, a dually S10, no doubt. The only reason you would even convert an S10 to a dually is because you got the money to do it. Um, but see, that's why I say I think there was a kit you buy because it was like the right width. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't look stupid by putting like a full size dually rear end on it. It was like the right width and everything, and it looked really good. So I think basically it was a set of side flares and probably just a just a rear end is basically probably all it really was to convert it. So yeah, but that was cool. And seeing the Baja one time at a car show, I seen one of those. And it was actually, I can't remember if it was supercharged or turbocharged, but they had done a bunch of work to it, and it was a whole lot meaner than what it was out of the factory. Um, you know, I guess if you took the Baja and threw a 350 down in it, it would be a Baja SS, I guess. So I don't know, but I have seen one or two maybe of those in like actual person, like up close. Um, but sometimes it's hard to tell if it's a real Baja because you can get just the Baja stuff and put on your four-wheel drive S10 and you'd be okay. But yeah, I smoke. I'm gonna kill myself one day probably. But anyways, I think that all in all, I will end up finding one or maybe try to track mine down and get it back. I know it's probably going to cost a fortune, and I'll be like Joe Dirt. All I got is like $450. You, you ain't getting no S10 for no $450. Anyways, you had to watch the movie, know what I'm talking about. But I will end up getting one eventually. I hope. Hopefully, before I'm 90. Yep, that's right. It's great. But anyways, I don't know about the ZX2 though. The ZX2, I think I'm just gonna pretty much make it just a daily driver because that'd probably be my best bet with that car because obviously either the clutches or the transmission can't take, and I don't even have the engine built. It's got a header and an intake on it, and well, a full-blown exhaust, but that's all I've got done to it. And I shattered a stage one clutch. Really? That's either just poor manufacturing or bad quality control or both. I'd say it's probably some Chinese thing. I'm guessing some Chinese company. Not that all Chinese stuff is cheap, but most of it is. Maybe if it was made in Malaysia, it might have been a little better quality. But anyways, I do want to get my car over here and get back on the road. I just need to find somebody that's gonna pull it over here. It's still got the tow bar and stuff sitting on it at my buddy's house over a couple towns away, because that's where we had to tow it to at the time. And I guess maybe I'll see what I can do in the next couple of days. And I got a buddy of mine trying to work something out to get it over here too. So between me and him, I'm sure we'll figure it out. Even if I gotta hook it up to somebody's car and pull it over here with my 30-foot tow rope I got. It's like pretty much company. I've seen a lot of Mexico parts. Yeah, Mexico parts. Yeah, it might have been from Mexico. I can't remember. It didn't really have an official box. It came in like just a cardboard box, and it was kind of like barely wrapped up with like newspaper. Is all it was wrapped up in a box with a label on it for it to shipping label, and that was it. I opened it up, and there was newspaper or some kind of paper. Actually, I think it was packaging paper, like the grayish, green looking stuff. So it was probably, it could have possibly been from Mexico. I don't really know. I've had some pretty good stuff that was made in Mexico, so I don't know for sure because I really do believe that the Mexican workers, they actually put a little bit of effort into actually doing stuff right. Because I think that most of the companies down there are still controlled by American corporations, so they put a little bit more into quality control, I believe. But I don't, I don't really know for sure. But the Chinese companies, I've seen a couple of documentaries on the Chinese companies. They got like this one place in China that has, oh my word, it's just a gigantic facility of like multiple companies making multiple stuff in this factory. And then like everybody lives in this big giant apartment place that the companies all own. So the workers basically are working for food and rent, which, hey, it's better than being in the woods trying to hunt for your food, I guess. I mean, you know, you know what I mean. So at least they've got housing, and I think they actually get a little bit of spending money. I don't really know. I didn't pay that much attention to the documentary because I was half asleep whenever I come across it anyways. So anyhow, it was kind of interesting what I did see of it. The fact that there was like multiple factories in this one giant building, and okay, whatever it takes to do the products, I guess. But as far as Mexico goes, I do believe that they have a little bit different quality control set up there. But maybe a good exidy clutch or something maybe would be better for the car. I don't know. I think even a factory plate, even the factory clutch that was in my car, it gripped really well, but it was about worn down, so there wasn't much left of it when I did change it. I looked at it, and the thing was pretty much down to the studs that press them together. So it didn't have much longer because it was actually starting to squeal a little bit. Squeal! Just a little whenever you'd go to take off. So it was a good thing I did change it. But I wish I had used a better quality clutch. But also I was given it a try is what it was. I don't even remember what it was. EFT, F Fortismo, something like that. F Fortismo, a high HD clutch kit, stage 1 clutch. But anyways, kind of bouncing around here. As soon as I can get things going a little better, I'll finish up this speaker box for everybody so they can see what it looks like. Hopefully I cut the circles out the right size so that a set of 12s will fit in there correctly. And they should be right, I think. We'll find out. It kind of depends on, I forget what I cut them out at. I guess I'll have to remeasure and see what I cut them out. I think I cut them out at like 11 1/4 because I think they was actually, the box was supposed to be for a set of the Power Acoustic 12s, the Gothics, like from Walmart. That was what that was actually for. There's just a lot of stuff that I got to catch up on here. I haven't been really on in a while. I did do a couple of reviews last night of some stuff. One of them was the Reese tow power tow bar that I had bought. It was actually pretty cool. I had never used a tow bar before, and it'd been a while since my buddy had used one, the one that helped me go get my car off the highway. He said, just look out the window there and check out the mirror whenever I go that way. So I did, and the wheels turn. I'm like, wow, I didn't know they did that. I had no idea. So, okay. And it may be because of the way the car's being pulled and it's forcing the wheels to turn. So I don't know. I'd never used it before. I just like, well, do you leave them locked? Do you leave your wheels unlocked? And it said, I had to look it up online because it didn't say anything in the book. It probably did, but I was too lazy to read it. So I just Googled it real quick and it said leave them unlocked. So I was like, okay, we'll see how this does. I was afraid the car was going to decide to go anywhere but follow us. But it did. It followed quite well. Of course, he's got a really big SUV and it's a tiny little car, so it would have drug it along even if it wouldn't have had wheels on it, I'd imagine. A big, I think a 5.7 V8 is what he's got in it. I forget. Yeah, so it would have pulled it regardless of, even if it didn't have any wheels on it, because it's got some power. I think it was an Eco. I think the truck we was using to pull the car with was an Eco. I think that's what it called it. Expo. That's right. It was an Expo. Thing was a beast. But anyways, I really do want to do more live stuff because I think it'll help me with the public talking, and I also think it'll help me connect better with you guys. I mean, if you think that it'll help connect better, help me get a little bit more in tune with you guys, then let me know. Hit me a like and let me know that it'll help being able to actually kind of talk one-on-one with you guys. And of course, I do have Super Chat. You guys can chat with me if you want. That's fine. I'll answer questions. This today is just kind of a test of me mumbling and rambling about my car and my truck, and hopefully I can get my truck back. When I do get my truck back, if I do get my truck back, I'm going to make sure that I put a tow hitch on it so that I'll have that. I'll have my tow bar and my tow hitch on my truck so that, I'll be able to go get my own vehicle if it breaks down or go get somebody else's. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of work to do to get a tow bar to work, but it beats the alternative of having to pay anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to get your car out of impound. And I wish I'd been able to get my S10, and then I would have been able to take care of it kind of myself anyways, and it wouldn't have been a big deal. But, dirt track transmission, new clutch. Hopefully I can find my S10 when I start working again. Lost my job, which sucks, but it's okay. It's not the first time I've lost my job or lost a job. Ooh, I'm dirty. Messing around, but I've been doing yard work, so but I was sitting here cleaning this and I got thinking I haven't done any live feeds or nothing, so I thought I would throw out a live feed and maybe kind of update what's going on with the channel and stuff. And there's going to be a few changes, some kind of little bit of comedy skits here and there. I do have one comedy skit that I already done. It was a fart can parody. I think it's funny, and everybody I sent it to and stuff and has seen it thought it was pretty funny. So that part's okay. And I'm gonna have more garage stuff going on too, especially with the ZX2, trying to get it lined out and getting it to where I'm not afraid to drive it like anywhere. I mean, I've already, a few years ago, I had already changed the head gasket and stuff, so all that stuff is good on it. I have to learn to keep my foot out of it because I think that's probably part of the reason why I destroyed that $85 clutch. It's because I like to play sometimes, and well, most guys do. When they're in a car, they, vroom, you know, whum, whum, wham, especially if you got a 5-speed or better, you know. Wham, wham, wham. And so, anyways, I don't know if if I will eventually, maybe whenever it gets too far gone, I may just turn it into a little dirt track mobile, just strip it completely out whenever I can't fix it no more, and just turn it into a dirt racer, and then find something else for a daily driver. That way I don't have to worry about it falling apart on me or nothing on the road. Just go find something else for a daily. But the ZX2 is not a bad little car. They're relatively quick for what they are. I mean, they're a little 2-liter. The only big issue is apparently the transmissions are kind of an issue. If you beat on them too much, you end up blowing them apart. But I think that all in all, if I drive it like I should and take good care of it, it should last me quite a while, at least until I can get something else. And then, like I say, I may just turn it into a dirt mobile and just. There's a few places like up north, where just a few miles up north, where I can take it to, and go run around in the dirt. But being it will be my only vehicle for a while until I can either get another S10 or get my S10 back, or find another daily driver or something. Then I'm going to have to take much better care of it, you know. And you really should take care of your cars that get you back and forth to work. Just saying, you know, if it was just a beater with a heater, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I wouldn't care that much about it. But I've actually got quite a bit of time and stuff in the ZX2 as well since I've had it. I've had it a little over 3 years. It's probably almost close to 4 by now. So almost 4 years of having that vehicle. I had my S10 for 10 years. And honestly, the S10 was the longest I've ever had any vehicle. Any. And I've had lots of vehicles, but most people have. But I've had a ridiculous amount of vehicles over the years. And the S10 was the one that lasted the longest. And considering I only paid $250 for it 10 years ago, and it lasted that as long as it did, and it's still running today wherever it's sitting at. I think the reason the clutch went out is because whoever had it before me didn't maintain anything on it. I mean, I had to go in and maintain everything, replace belts, replace starter, replace just all kinds of just everything, just all kinds of stuff, because it wasn't getting taken care of from whoever had it before. So I like I kind of like working on vehicles. I do, but whenever I keep seeing vehicles that people just blatantly just, oh well, it's just a vehicle, it doesn't mean nothing. Well, actually, it does mean something. It's how you get to where you need to go. It's how you get to the grocery store, how you get your kids to the hospital, how you get your kids to the doctors, how you get them back and forth to school sometimes if you don't actually let them ride the bus or don't want them to ride the bus. So anyways, this all started. Yeah, I get a little lost on working on trucks too. But it's because I never really worked on a lot of trucks before. I had only had one other truck before I got my S10. I had a 79 GMC step side that I basically, the engine was already rebuilt and stuff whenever I got it. I had bought it off a buddy of mine. He had already rebuilt the engine and stuff. So I didn't have to do a lot of work on that. It had a 305 in it, I think, or a 350, one or the other. They're pretty much the same engine. But it was already pretty much ready to go. It just had a lot of body work and internal stuff in the cab work that needed done. So I did all the body work and did the interior and stuff. And so I didn't have to do a lot of maintenance or anything on it. Radiator hose blew on me once, but that was a quick, heck, I drove it to the auto parts store without the heater hose, the radiator hose. I just drove it there. I was like, well, it will either blow up or it won't. It was only like a mile away. So I ended up driving it to the parts store and I threw another radiator hose on it and it was fine. It was good to go. And then I didn't have any problems out of that. And then I had technically kind of got that vehicle for the woman I was with at the time. It was kind of technically sort of hers, but I'm the one that got to do all the work on it. So, one of those deals. But that was the only other truck that I really had. The first vehicle I actually drove, though, was a 69 C10 3 on the tree. That was fun. I didn't know how to drive or know how to drive a stick, so I was trying to learn both at the same time. You get one, you get two, you get three. That's it, and it was kind of crazy shifting that thing. I just felt, and then whenever I went to my first actual car, it was a 5-speed Escort. Mind you, it was an 85 Escort. That was the first car I owned. And that was a fun little car to drive. I did a few things to it, some exhaust work and stuff, and I did a little bit of body work on it and stuff. That was kind of a learner car for me as far as like body work, because I hadn't done much body work until I got that car. Great stuff, or Instafoam was kind of a new thing back then. So I did some body work with some Instafoam or Great Stuff, whatever it was called back then. The company I used to work for before I got let go, they called it Froth. But it's still the same stuff. It's instant styrofoam. But anyways, I did a little body work that way. That works out really well if you don't really care. If it's your own vehicle, but don't do that to a vehicle you're selling, and you can weld in some metal, or even actually, if it's your own vehicle, you can weld in some metal and then kind of putty it up some, make it look good. What's up, Sprayway? How you been? I ain't seen you on for a while. I haven't seen much posted by you. I usually try to keep up with all my people that I subscribe to, like mostly the car guys that do stuff. I haven't really seen much by Sprayway, so that's crazy. Glad to see you could drop by. Just kind of talking about some this and that with the channel and stuff, and doing my first live feed. I'm nervous as crap if you can't tell. Anyways, as far as like bodywork goes, don't ever use the Instafoam thing. But if it's a real quick job and you don't care, it's a beater with a heater, okay, fine. But if it's something halfway decent and you're trying to save it, you can weld in some metal. You can get a $100 welder from Harbor Freight, and you can use the spool of wire it comes with, and then go get you some KT Industry wire. That stuff is amazing for its price. It's a little bit more than, it's probably about the same price as the Harbor Freight stuff, and it is smooth. It's amazing, especially with the Harbor Freight welder, which was weird that it works so well with an off welder. It wasn't like it was a KT Industry welder, which they do make welders. I believe they make all kinds of stuff welding. So anyways, I got to see some more stuff from Sprayway though. He needs to get on the ball. Oh, excuse me. So, anyways, I don't really got a whole lot more to say right at this moment. Just in the next couple days, hopefully I can get my car over here where it belongs. Over here so I can start pulling it apart. And like I said, I'm going to share some of that with you guys live so you can see what's going on with that. And hopefully I'm not nearly as nervous. Yeah, we're always nervous whenever it's the first time we do something, usually. And, I'm trying not to drag this out because I am kind of almost out of stuff to say unless there's like questions or something that you want to ask me about or something, which I'll try to answer questions if you got any. But other than that, I don't really got stupid bugs. But I like to keep the garage door open when I'm in it at night because it's not like I'm painting or anything. And if the weather's nice, it's nice to have the fresh air with my cigarettes. So, anyways, I'm going to end this one so that I don't bore you guys too much worse than I probably already have. But like I say, a little bit of update for you guys, the ones that have been watching. So I appreciate you guys watching my first live feed. Thank you very much. Have a spectacular day or night, whichever one it is for you. Peace out.